Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to Fared Face Fail Productions. So, today we are going to be talking about why I hate trucks with a passion. Absolutely hate having to own and drive a truck every day. And no, I'm not talking about a commercial truck. This is just, I'm in the new to me F150. So, I would just personally prefer to own a small sports car or a hot hatch and daily drive that. It's more fun, gets better gas mileage. It's just my personal choice. Now, I'm going to preface this. I don't care what you drive. If you're a bro truck guy, you like lifted trucks, that's what turns you on and gets you off, that's fine. I got no problems with that. I ain't been in the military for 14 years trying to protect people's freedoms for nothing, you know? So you buy what you want to buy. This is just my personal opinion and thoughts on why I don't like trucks. So we'll talk about kind of real quick that my last truck to this one was my 2008 Dodge Dakota. And I love that truck to death. Had it for many years. I sold it with 220,000 miles on it and never had any major problems with the truck. Yeah, I really liked that truck quite a bit. 302 horsepower, 4.7 liter with 329 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, it did everything that I wanted it to. I did nothing but basic maintenance to it. It was solid. I could fit 3 dirt bikes in the bed. It had a 5-foot, 4-inch bed. Yeah, it was really good. A little bit bigger than the mid-sized trucks. It did everything I needed. I paid $6,000 cash for that truck years ago when I bought it. I bought it with 150,000 miles on it. Sold it with 220. It was just time. It was just, now if I'm going to be daily driving, I needed something that was going to be a little bit more economical and a little bit lower on mileage. Now let's talk about why I chose the F150. So it's not going to be super comprehensive, and part of me hates buying an F150 simply because they are so common, and you know what, everybody has an F150. It is what it is. But ultimately, Ford offers more options, engine options specifically, than the other automakers do. I needed a truck that got a little bit better gas mileage and comfortable, easy to drive. They're all comfortable to drive. They're all luxury vehicles these days. And I needed something that could haul and tow what I needed it to do. And I don't do a lot of towing. We tow a small motorcycle trailer. That's about it. I probably doubt if it weighed much over 1,000 pounds, if even. And then in the bed, I need to be able to fit 3 dirt bikes. Pretty much any truck spec'd pretty much any way is going to be able to do that. So with a focus on a little bit better fuel economy, the 2.7 liter in the Ford really made a lot of sense over, say, the 5.7 in the Ram. 5.7 is a solid engine. I got no problems with them. But ultimately, they don't get quite the gas mileage I want. And Ram, I think overall it's actually a nicer interior, nicer everything else. And here locally in Colorado, where trucks and anything 4x4 goes for more money, they really want their value out of their Rams. That's for sure. I've seen them going for same year and everything for more money than what the Ford was. So part of a contributing factor. People like those Rams for good reason. My family's owned a lot of them, and they've been really good. In fact, we've got one in the family that's over 300,000 miles and been really quite an awesome vehicle. The Chevy, I would have, looking at the 15 and 16 years, I would have had to have gone to the 5.3 liter. Nothing wrong with that engine, pretty much bulletproof. But once again, if you're going to be getting that kind of a bad gas mileage, then you might as well go to a 5.7 Hemi or the bigger engine. I don't know. Chevy in that era wasn't super good. What I really wanted from Chevy was the 3-liter diesel, the Duramax. That wasn't an option because they're too new, too expensive. My budget was $25,000. So, blew out real quick. This F-150 right here, I got an absolute steal on it. Maybe not steal, but I got a good deal on it. Had some hail damage from Colorado. If you haven't lived in Colorado, well, you pretty much go through the process of doing hail damage repairs on your car every year, at least once. And dealerships don't want to deal with it. They give really crazy deals after hailstorms. And that allowed me to get about $6,000-ish off this truck. So I ended up all said and done, paying right around, I think $23 out the door was the original price before my trade-in. So yeah, so it just kind of worked out. The dealership also gave me a fair bit of money for my other truck, so everything just kind of aligned for this. Also, I'm very picky about where my vehicles come from. This was a Colorado-only truck, so no rust. The previous owner had, no, they didn't have, I found all of the maintenance records for this truck, Brighton, Colorado. So, yeah, the previous owner did all the maintenance over the years, oil changes on time, blah, blah, blah. I have it all from Brighton Ford, which is awesome. I'm so excited about that. But fuel economy in mind, my first 30-gallon fill-up on this truck, because it does have the 36-gallon tank, was a lovely 19.1 miles to the gallon. And I checked it the old-fashioned way, and that's not just going off the computer. So I was very excited about that number, given that my Dakota was lucky to do about 16, if even. I'd say most of the time 15.8. Check pretty often the good old-fashioned way. And I will say that the computer was pretty accurate. I actually think it was a little low. It was saying 18.9 on the computer here. So, yeah, I was very, very happy with the increase in fuel economy on 87 octane here in Colorado. Been very impressed with the power. You know, the F-150, it still rides like a truck. I will say the Ram definitely is smoother. Overall, a truck to me is a utilitarian vehicle. I own one because I own a shop up in Monument, Colorado, and at Moto Toys we do dirt bike rentals. I do dirt bike, you know, we'll take them out to you if you're willing to pay for delivery, so on and so forth. We offer a lot of cool options, but I have to be able to transport dirt bikes pretty much at a moment's notice, which means I kind of got to drive a truck. Not my favorite thing in the world, but it is what it is. I knew those choices when I made them. It's just, I do absolutely miss driving a stick shift with a little hot hatch like my Fiesta ST. That got great gas mileage, was a blast to drive. And no, that's not the fastest car in the world, but they were just a lot of fun to drive. And I just don't understand why so many people are into this bro truck thing. These things are big, they're heavy, they handle like shit. And no, I wouldn't consider my F-150 necessarily slow. In fact, it's probably about as fast as my Fiesta ST was. But, you know, in a straight line, that's fun. But up in the mountains, when you're throwing this thing around, boy, it feels like a fat chick on a rascal, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. And that's where I'm at with hating trucks. It's not that I think it's the worst thing in the world, or you're a terrible person for owning one, or anything like that. It's just my personal preferences. I would have a different vehicle. The Ford F-150 itself is awesome. In fact, I really like the 2.7 liter engine. For something that is so small, propelling a large, heavy vehicle, 2.7 is very responsive, especially at high altitude. A lot of times at high altitude, you get a lot of turbo lag, because we're about down 3 pounds of pressure. So you figure about a negative 3 pounds per pressure. The turbo's got to make up at this altitude. And from what I can tell, the F-150 seems to be giving about an extra 2 pounds of boost. It's not quite giving her all, but some tuning will smooth that out. I know manufacturers usually have limits on how much overboost for altitude change they'll give. Anyways, sidebar. Overall, turbos can have a little bit more lag up here, and it's very responsive. There's a little bit of lag off the line, but when you're driving it, the turbos are pretty much always spooled and ready to go. You step on it, this thing feels like a much, much larger engine than it is. Very happy with it. I'm impressed with the fuel economy. I'm impressed with the overall feel and quality of the truck. Now, 2015, it's an old truck, right? It's not new news to anybody. But these are just kind of my takes on buying a truck that was a little bit more thrifty. And if you're looking at this video and you've only got about $20,000 to $25,000 to spend, you know, here's a few things that maybe you should consider or look at. Your needs for a truck. I talked about that a little bit. I'm kind of not towing a lot, although I feel like if you're towing over 8,000 pounds, you should probably go up to the next size truck. Personal thought, though. Anyways, what do you need your bed for? What you need your payload capacity for? You know, how you're looking to drive it, how much driving you really do. Because you know what? If you don't really do a lot of driving, then buying a high-powered V8 just to have fun with, go for it. Why not? You know, I mean, I think it's fun. My father owns a TRX, and you know, doesn't really get much more than 700 and something horsepower in a truck, although 7-8 miles to the gallon, or maybe 10 if you're lucky, would kill me in finances. 91 octane, I don't think we would be able to manage that. So look at what your needs are for a truck, both in size and capacities for things, and then make a decision, or I suppose go look at trucks that fit your needs. So go look at the Ram 5.7 liter with the, if you want more fuel economy, go with the 355 axle. Or if you need more tow capacity, look at the 392 with the Ram. Go drive it, see how you like it. I think most people are going to like the Ram these days. If I didn't need the fuel economy, I probably would have went with it, but every little bit helps. And I've never owned an F150. I've owned Dodge and Ram stuff, so I like to be a little different. Then go try out the 2.7 liter, or even the Pentastar in the Ram, the 2.7 in the Ford. And just try different things out and see what really meets your needs. And then, of course, set a budget. See what years work for your budget. For me, $25,000 as this cap. 15 and 16. 16 was probably about the newest I could go. And even then, I had to pick something with a little bit more miles. And some research on the 2.7 liter will pretty much tell you that it's one of the most reliable Ford engines, even over the 3.5. At that point, you kind of make a decision on personal choice. That's kind of how I tell a lot of my friends I help buy a vehicle. You gotta like what you drive. It's your money. Vehicles aren't cheap to maintain. Vehicles aren't cheap to drive. They're not cheap to buy. So you have to drive something that you enjoy driving. I can't tell somebody the Ford F-150 is the perfect truck because of my dick's bigger. I don't know. That's just not how it works. At the end of the day, you have to like what you drive, and if it meets your capabilities, everything else is just extra. For me, I liked the F-150. In this specific instance, I got a really good deal on it, and I wanted to try out the 2.7 liter. That was another big thing to me. The 2.7 is a really unique engine. Compact grafted iron engine. It's basically built like a diesel on its bottom end with aluminum heads. A lot more robust than I think the 3.5 liter is. Does not relate to the 3.5 at all. Its parallel turbo design right off the headers is very efficient. I really like the design of the motor. I really like that it's been very reliable for Ford. I really like that it makes, my particular year, 325 horsepower, 375 foot-pounds, 400 foot-pounds for the new engine. It is a unique small engine that makes lots of power, and I really like that idea in vehicles. Also a little bit more fuel economy. At the end of the day, I get it for everybody saying, fuel economy between a 5.7 and the 2.7 is like 2 miles to the gallon or whatever. And you're not wrong. Don't disagree with that in any way. But when you think about it, 2 miles to the gallon is 20% of your fuel economy. So that adds up when you're driving lots of miles. And for me, going from my Dakota, it's even more so. So, yeah, it just really depends on what your needs are and what you need in a truck. Sky's the limit and money's no object. Of course, no things really matter to you. For me, and for somebody who's being budget conscious and just needs a utilitarian truck, the F-150 does it quite well. I feel like Ram has really got into this luxury truck thing. For good reason. People want the luxury features, the leather seats, and the infotainment that's bigger than my flat screen at home. They want all that stuff. It's nice, it's cool. If you're gonna live in your truck, you might as well have it, right? It makes them very expensive, and that upsets me because trucks, once again, to me, are utilitarian. I want it bare bones, and I want it to function. So having all these expensive toys are just more things to break, in my opinion. But the truck overall is good, and F-150 seems to really do work trucks and fleet trucks better than the others. Not that they don't exist, because they do. Just F-150s, because I think there are so many, they end up being a little bit cheaper by volume. And ultimately, that's what made me buy the 2015 XLT F-150. That's pretty much decked out. This is, I think, most of the options that you could get on the XLT. I've got the Sync 4 system, not the Sony system. It's got the heated cloth seats, which is pretty nice. I like cloth seats better anyway. It's personal preference. It's got the bigger gas tank, 36-gallon tank. It's got the smaller e-locker, the 373 e-locker in the rear for the diff. I'm trying to think of what else this thing came with. The 4x4 package with the skid plates, all the goodies on there. All that makes me pretty excited. It's more spec'd out than I expected I was going to get at this price point. There's everything in it that I need. I mean, the old sync system is pretty much nothing more than a pass-through for Bluetooth these days. Has no nav or anything like that. Has no Apple CarPlay. Has no Android Auto, whatever. And I can replace these systems these days, and we may look at that. But ultimately, I got my phone mount. I got my maps up there because I got a real big-ass phone, and I've got the radio. Oh, the stereo system. We'll talk about that a little bit. The stereo. Ford does shitty stereo systems. I don't know. I feel like this is something Dodge and Chevy just do better. Even their base stereos in the Dodge and Chevy are just so much better. Being honest about this sync system, the stereo is subpar, below the what I would call acceptable mark for a stock stereo system. I don't know. The Sony system I had in my Fiesta sucked too, though, so, you know, is what it is. I can't really say either one. At the end of the day, that can be remedied. That's not the make it or break it for me. It's the deal that I can get at the time. I needed a new truck to kind of replace the aging truck that I had. I didn't want to spend a lot of time looking. Usually I'm pretty anal. And this one really fit the bill. Colorado truck, no rust. Maintenance records. I was able to get all of my maintenance records for the F-150 from Brighton Ford, where it lived its entire life. Yeah, there was a lot of good things that lined up with this truck that led me to buy it. But at the end of the day, I hate trucks. And this is a long rant about wanting to daily drive a sports car and having dreams for making more money in life. But hopefully all you guys appreciated this one. All of us dirt bikers, we all drive trucks. So, yeah, thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Ferret Face out.